Dupe traveled to Halaba, the small town where Tayo's mother lived. The house she arrived was dilapidated, clearly in need of urgent repairs. When they arrived, Tayo's mother welcomed them and without hesitation declared, "Your husband is going to die." In the town of Alaba, located in the southwest part of Nigeria, there lived a man named Tayo. He was known for his dedication and hard work. No matter how tall or demanding his job was, Tayo never gave up or complained. His determination to succeed in life was unwavering. Even when faced with hatred and challenges at work, Tayo stood strong and refused to back down. One day, Tayo decided to leave the village and go to the city to continue with his life. He worked hard each day until he decided it was time to settle down and start a family. He shared this plan with his mother, who encouraged him to move forward, but she advised him to choose a woman who would bring him true happiness. One fateful afternoon, Dupe, a slim woman with dark skin and unmatched confidence, was walking past Tayo's office. The moment Tayo saw her, he was captivated. Love struck him at first sight. Without a second thought, he abandoned his work and rushed after Dupe. Dupe turned around to see who was desperately running after her. When she looked back, she saw Tayo, a young man with a rich chocolate complexion, drenched in sweat with beads of ease rolling down his face. "Oh, I hope everything is alright. How can I help you? I noticed you were running after me, so I decided to stop," she said calmly. Tayo, wiping his face with his hands, was taken aback by Dupe's calm and understanding attitude. She wasn't angry or upset by his sudden approach, which impressed him even more. "Oh, I'm so sorry to bother you, sister," Tayo began, his voice a little shaky. "I would like to spend a few minutes with you if you don't mind." With that, Tayo started to confess his feeling to Dupe, his heart pounding as he spoke. Understanding what Tayo was trying to say, Dupe gently asked him to give her some time to think it over. After a few months, Dupe accepted his proposal and they got married in grand, beautiful ceremony. Dupe made the difficult decision to leave a well-paying job behind and start a new life with Tayo. As time passed, she grew anxious about her situation. Having no job of her own, pacing through the room, worry creased her brow. She finally decided to ask her husband, Tayo, for help. "Honey, I want to start a business so I can earn a living too," she pleaded. Tayo understood her concern and agreed, giving her some money to begin her business. Slowly but surely, Dupe's business began to thrive. She had always been hardworking, a trait she developed growing up in the village before moving to the city. Her industrious nature was now paying off. Dupe, always wanting the best for her family, decided to have a serious talk with her husband one day. "Honey," she began, "we've been married for 5 years now, and our children are growing up. Expenses will keep increasing. Let's build our own house before we get overwhelmed by bills." Tayo thought about her suggestion and agreed. They soon began their building projects, and after several months, the house was completed. To celebrate, they planned a grand housewarming and invited their relatives to join them in the celebration. But this joyful occasion marked the beginning of trouble in Dupe's life. Shortly after the housewarming, Tayo started falling sick frequently. Despite taking him to different hospitals, there was no improvement in his health. Worried, Dupe informed Tayo's family about his condition, and they asked her to bring him home. Dupe traveled to Halaba, the small town where Tayo's mother lived. The house she arrived was dilapidated, clearly in need of urgent repairs. When they arrived, Tayo's mother welcomed them and without hesitation declared, "Your husband is going to die." "Mama, no way. Why will you say such a thing about your own son?" Dupe replied, shocked. "I brought him home because you asked me to. But seeing he would die before we've even started treatment is too much. What did you see that makes you say this?" "Oh, you want to know? Come, let me show you," Mama said, her voice filled with anger as she grabbed Dupe's arm and dragged her outside. She pointed to the dilapidated building. "Do you see now?" she asked sharply. "Mama, I still don't understand what you're trying to show me," Dupe replied, confused. "What exactly are you getting at?" Mama's fury erupted. "What's the matter? Are you seriously asking me that? I carried my son for 9 months, raised him and married you. He abandoned me here and I'm supposed to just sit back and accept it?" "Mama, but he's your son," Dupe cried, tears streaming down her face as she begged. "Mama, please reverse the curse you've placed on him. Please, we will do better. We thought sending you money for food was enough for now. We plan to build your house after finishing ours. Please do something to take this debt away." Realizing the gravity of her action, Mama rushed back to the herbalist she had visited a few months ago, the one who had helped her make her son suffer for not building a house first. "Baba, please, revoke it. His wife just told me they were planning to build my house next," she pleaded desperately. The herbalist shook his head. "It's too late. Tomorrow is the day that was set. If he had come 5 days earlier, we could have done something about it." Mama began to cry bitterly. "Ah, Baba, you didn't tell me there was no antidote. You only said he will fall sick and they will bring him home. You didn't say it would lead to this. There's nothing we can do now. You just have to accept your fate," Baba said coldly, mimicking Mama's words and pain with a twisted smile. "You don't know anything. I didn't come to you, you came to me first. Your son offended me long before he left this village. Now that he's well off and has built a house for himself, I knew he would eventually do the same for you. So I decided to use this opportunity to finish him off, and I will make sure his children suffer too." After these dark thoughts, Baba went out to meet Mama. "I just finished speaking with my girls," he said. "They told me your son will seek revenge. To prevent this, you must keep all his children here in the village. If they return to the city, they will die." When Mama returned home, she informed Dupe of Baba's words. Dupe cried bitterly, and the next day, Tayo passed away. Heartbroken and filled with bitterness towards Mama, Dupe left immediately to return to their home. A year later, their second child, Tiwa, woke up screaming from a nightmare. "Mom, something just bites me," the child cried. Dupe checked everywhere but found no insect. She tried to dismiss it, but the next day her child's leg began to swell and pus oozing out uncontrollably. "They've caught me again," Dupe exclaimed in despair. She grabbed her phone and called Mama to explain what was happening. Mama, with a heavy heart, responded, "Yes, Baba told me Tayo would seek revenge." "Mama, if Tayo wants revenge, it should be against you, not my child. I did nothing wrong. This is your doing," Dupe cried out. "My daughter, that's what Baba said." "Which Baba?" "I'm coming to that village to deal with all of you," Dupe shouted, ending the call. She hurried to the village with her child, determined to confront Mama. Upon arriving, Dupe unleashed her anger, grabbing Mama by the hand. "You won't kill my child like you did yours. Take me to that Baba now," she demanded. Mama, shaking, quickly grabbed her bag and led Dupe and the suffering child Tiwa to Baba. As they arrived, Mama began to plead with Baba. "Your gods have destroyed me. Look at my grandchild." Baba, with a sinister laugh, replied, "Wait, there is a solution. Stop shouting." Relieved, Mama and Dupe waited as Baba healed the child's leg. Over the next few days, but then Baba spoke again. His tone darkened. "There is one thing that must be done, something I told Mama before her son died." "Mama, what did he tell you?" Dupe demanded, her voice shaking with frustration. Mama began to stutter, her mind racing. "I can't remember exactly." Baba interrupted, his voice cold and firm. "Let me remind you what my God said. They said all your grandchildren must stay with you here in the village." "What?" "Baba, I didn't hear you well," Dupe asked, her anger and frustration boiling over. "I won't repeat myself. Leave this child with Mama and go bring the rest of your children here," Baba said. Dupe was stunned. She couldn't believe what she was hearing. "So, you want my children who are in school in the city to come down to this village with no school and no proper facilities just to suffer? No way. Mama, I'm taking my child back to the town, and nothing had better happen, or I would deal with all of you." Out with her child and hurried back to the city. But before they could reach home, the child's leg began to swell again, the foul-smelling paws returning with vengeance. "Oh no," Dupe cried. "Let's go to church, my daughter. I won't allow you to stay in that village, not in my lifetime." Dupe, desperate and with nowhere else to turn, entered a church near her house and poured out a ordeal to the prophet. Sensing her distress, the prophet began to pray, claiming that a spirit had been assigned to torment her child. He immediately started the deliverance section, convincing Dupe that he could heal her child. Dupe spent everything she had on the treatment, not realizing that the prophet was a fraud. She sold her house, her business collapsed, and when the prophet saw that she had no money left, he coldly told her to follow the herbalist's instructions. It was then that Dupe realized she had been deceived. Heartbroken and disappointed, Dupe decided never to visit churches again, fearing she would be duped once more. "What will I do with my life?" she cried out, feeling utterly lost. "My children are out of school, and I have nowhere to call home." She broke down in tears, crying bitterly until she fell asleep. That night, Dupe had a dream where she saw herself healing people on a mountain. What kind of dream is this? She wondered. Without hesitation, she gathered her children and rushed to the mountain she had seen in her dream. There, she called out to God, pleading for his help. She prayed, fasted, and cried herself to sleep every night. On the seventh day, she noticed a change in her child's leg. To her amazement, the child had been healed completely over the next few days. Overwhelmed with joy, Dupe realized she could have turned to God earlier instead of falling into the hands of a fake prophet. From that moment on, Dupe understood that when life's troubles arise, there is no one she needs to turn to except God, who performs wonders without asking for anything in return. Meanwhile, the herbalist sensed the child he had caused had been freed. He rushed to perform his even rituals again, but instead, tragedy struck him. He went mad and began confessing his sins. He revealed that he had cursed Tayo before he left the village. Because Tayo had refused to help him with his wicked concoctions meant to harm someone else. Mama realized this terrible mistake she had made by placing her son in the hands of his enemy. She ran to Tayo's grave, begging for forgiveness. Consumed by guilt and despair, she took her own life. In the end, Dupe managed to restart her business with the financial help of her husband's friends. Slowly but surely, she bounced back, rebuilding her life and providing for her children once again.